Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Washington State quarter value coins. In this video, we'll explore the worth, iconic designs, hidden treasures, and shocking history behind the top 3 most valuable and expensive Washington State quarters from the United States of America. The coins we'll be revealing today include 2003 P State Quarter, 2005 D State Quarter, 2019 P State or America the Beautiful Quarter. These coins are made from copper-nickel-clad metal, the standard composition for modern U.S. quarters. They feature the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, along with unique reverse designs that celebrate American states and historic locations. At first glance, these quarters may appear completely ordinary. Many are dirty, worn, and heavily circulated, showing years of everyday use. But don't be fooled. Because certain mint marks, rare era varieties, and high-grade condition examples have turned some of these common-looking quarters into valuable collector pieces. Today, select examples can be worth thousands, and in rare cases, even more, dollars depending on rarity and condition. So before you spend that old quarter sitting in your pocket or coin jar, stick around, because you might be holding a hidden fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right first up. Coin number 1. Take a slow look at that 2005 D Washington State quarter before you toss it aside as just another 25 cents. This is the Washington quarter from the state quarters era, and the reverse design reads Land of 10,000 Lakes, honoring the state of Minnesota. It may be scratched. It may be dull. It may be heavily circulated and forgotten in a drawer. But like many modern coins, its true story is deeper than its face value. The 2005 Minnesota quarter was part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever released by the United States Mint. Millions of Americans began checking their change, collecting maps, filling folders. For the first time in decades, everyday pocket change became a national treasure hunt. The Minnesota design features a peaceful lakeside scene, a loon floating on the water, trees lining the horizon, and a fisherman casting into calm water. It is not dramatic. It is not flashy. But it represents identity, pride, and regional beauty. Now let's address the reality. A 2005 D Minnesota State quarter in dirty, worn, heavily circulated condition is almost always worth face value. 25 cents. Millions upon millions were minted in Denver. They flooded circulation. They moved through stores, banks, vending machines, and coin jars. There is no automatic millionaire secret hidden in every circulated example. Viral headlines often exaggerate what only applies to rare varieties or exceptional grades. But here is where the story becomes interesting. The 2005 Minnesota quarter is famous among collectors for die varieties. Some examples show extra tree-like doubling in the forest area on the reverse. These are sometimes called extra tree varieties. What looks like additional foliage is actually die doubling caused during the minting process. Some of these varieties have attracted strong collector demand, especially when found in higher mint state condition. The difference between a normal strike and a notable double die variety can mean the difference between a quarter and a coin worth significantly more. Condition again becomes the deciding factor. A coin pulled straight from circulation with heavy wear, flattened details, and scratches will remain near face value. But a sharply struck, uncirculated 2005 D quarter with strong luster and minimal contact marks can command premiums among collectors completing high-grade sets. When professionally graded at top levels, population scarcity can push values upward, sometimes into the hundreds of dollars for the finest known examples. Not because the coin is silver. Not because it contains gold. But because perfection is rare. It is important to understand that the 2005 D quarter is copper-nickel clad over a copper core. There is no precious metal content driving intrinsic value. Its worth is purely collectible, based on demand, grade, and variety. Claims that a standard circulated 2005D Minnesota quarter is worth millions of dollars are not supported by verified auction data. Extraordinary prices require extraordinary circumstances, unique errors, extreme condition rarity, or historically significant mint mistakes. Mint errors are where serious spikes can occur. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, dramatic double dies. These are scarce because they represent production anomalies. When authenticated and graded, rare error quarters can bring strong bids at auction. But these are specific, documented cases, not everyday pocket change. The power of the 2005D Minnesota quarter lies in its place within American numismatic history. The state quarters program transformed how people viewed coins. It created curiosity. It created collectors. It created awareness. This quarter represents a time when Americans across the country were actively searching their change for something different. And sometimes, that search did reveal valuable finds. Could a 2005D Minnesota quarter make you a billionaire overnight? Realistically, no. There is no credible record of a standard circulated example selling for millions. But could a rare, high-grade, or major error example sell for significantly more than 25 cents? Absolutely. That is how coin markets operate, through rarity, grading, and collector demand. If you own one, examine it carefully. Look closely at the trees on the reverse. Study the lettering. Inspect the surfaces under strong light. Check for unusual doubling or striking anomalies. If the coin appears unusually sharp and clean, professional grading may be worth considering. Knowledge separates fantasy from opportunity. The 2005D Washington Minnesota State Quarter is not valuable because it is old. It is not valuable because it looks golden or unique at first glance. It becomes valuable only when rarity and condition intersect. Its true importance is historical first, representing one of the most influential coin programs in U.S. history, and financial second. So before you imagine unimaginable millions, pause. Understand what you hold. Most circulated examples are worth face value. Exceptional pieces can be worth far more. In coin collecting, patience and education create opportunity. Hype fades. Facts remain. And sometimes, in the quiet details of an overlooked quarter, there is value, but only for those who truly know what they are looking at. Stop. Don't spend that 2019 quarter yet. The 2019 P-Mint Mark Washington quarter from the America the Beautiful series featuring the San Antonio Mission's design may look like ordinary pocket change, especially if it's dirty, worn, or heavily circulated. But sometimes the most powerful stories in coin collecting begin with coins that look completely normal. This copper-nickel-clad quarter was struck for everyday use, created to move through hands, cash registers, and bank rolls across the United States. It was never meant to be rare. It was never meant to be legendary. And yet, under certain rare circumstances, coins from this exact year and mint mark have shocked collectors because of condition, strike quality, or unusual minting errors. The America the Beautiful series was designed to honor national parks and historic sites, and the San Antonio Mission's design represents centuries of American history. On the reverse, the imagery reflects strength, faith, and early settlement heritage. On the obverse, the familiar portrait of George Washington reminds us that this coin carries the identity of American coinage tradition. Millions upon millions were produced in Philadelphia in 2019. That's what makes it seem impossible for one to be valuable. When supply is massive, value is usually small. But coin history has taught collectors one powerful truth: rarity is not always about how many were made, but how many survive in exceptional or unusual condition. In heavily circulated condition, scratched, faded, and worn, this quarter is generally worth face value. 25 cents. Nothing more. No hidden millions. No overnight billionaire stories. But in the world of numismatics, value changes dramatically when a coin escapes circulation in pristine condition. A perfect uncirculated example graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can sell for significantly more than face value because collectors compete for the finest known examples. Not because it is old. Not because it is silver. But because perfection is rare. There is also the possibility of mint errors. Off-center strikes, double dies, strike-through errors, or other production anomalies can transform an ordinary coin into a collectible piece. These errors are accidental, unpredictable, and far less common than normal strikes. When documented and authenticated, certain error quarters can command strong prices in the collector market. Not millions in normal circumstances, but sometimes hundreds or even thousands depending on the uniqueness and demand. The dramatic million-dollar stories often circulate online without proof, creating excitement that spreads faster than facts. It's important to understand the metal composition as well. The 2019 P San Antonio Missions quarter is copper-nickel clad, not silver. That means its intrinsic metal value does not create rarity. Unlike older silver quarters minted before 1965, this coin's base metal content keeps its melt value close to face value. Its potential worth comes purely from collectability, grading condition, and unusual characteristics. That is where the real story lies. The psychology behind viral coin stories is powerful. When people hear that a common coin could make you rich overnight, it triggers curiosity and hope. It creates urgency. But professional collectors and serious investors move slowly. They examine strike sharpness. They inspect luster. They analyze rim integrity. They check for verified error varieties. They rely on grading scales, not hype. Because in coins, truth is more valuable than excitement. If you find a 2019 P San Antonio Missions quarter, the smartest move is simple. Examine it carefully under good light. Look for anything unusual, doubling in the lettering, misalignment, incomplete strikes, or off-center designs. If it appears flawless and uncirculated, it may be worth submitting to a grading service. If it is worn and heavily used, it remains a historical piece of modern American coinage, but realistically worth its face value. The real power of this coin is not in guaranteed millions. It is in awareness. It is in understanding how modern coins can sometimes surprise collectors when condition, rarity, and demand align perfectly. It reminds us that value is created by scarcity, documentation, and verified quality, not by viral headlines alone. So before you spend that quarter, pause. Not because it will automatically make you a billionaire overnight, but because knowledge is more valuable than hype. In the world of coins, the smallest details can separate ordinary change from collectible treasure. Stop. Before you spend that 2003 quarter, look at it again. Because the 2003 P Mint Mark Washington quarter with the Land of Lincoln reverse design may look like nothing more than worn pocket change. Scratched. Faded. Dirty. Heavily circulated. But sometimes, the biggest stories in American coin history begin with coins people ignore every single day. This coin comes from the powerful and historic 50-state quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever released by the United States Mint. In 2003, Illinois was honored with the Land of Lincoln design, paying tribute to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln. The reverse shows a young Lincoln, farmland, a city skyline, and the powerful inscription that defines the state's identity. It wasn't just a quarter. It was history pressed into metal. Millions were minted in Philadelphia. Massive numbers. That alone makes people assume it cannot be rare. And in most cases, they're right. A heavily circulated 2003 P Illinois state quarter is usually worth face value, just 25 cents. No hidden fortune. No automatic millions. No overnight billionaire transformation. But here is where the story changes. Value in modern coins is not about age alone. It is about condition. It is about rarity within perfection. It is about mint errors that were never supposed to exist. While millions were struck, very few survive in flawless, high-grade condition. Coins graded at the absolute top of the scale, nearly perfect surfaces, sharp strike, blazing luster, can sell for far more than face value because collectors compete for the finest known examples. Not because they are old, but because perfection is scarce. Then there are minting errors. Doubled dies. Off-center strikes. Clipped planchets. Strike-through errors. Misaligned dies. These are accidents during production. Rare. Unpredictable. And when authenticated, they can turn an ordinary state quarter into a serious collectible. Some modern error coins have sold for thousands of dollars depending on uniqueness and demand. The dramatic million-dollar claims often spread online without verified auction records. They create excitement. They create urgency. But the real market moves on documented sales, professional grading, and collector demand, not viral headlines. The 2003 Illinois quarter is copper-nickel clad, not silver. That matters. Its metal value does not create wealth. Unlike pre-1965 silver quarters, this coin's intrinsic metal content keeps its base value low. Its potential value lives entirely in condition, grading, and error varieties. That is the truth most people skip when chasing viral coin stories. But here is something powerful. The psychology behind these coins is real. When someone hears that a simple quarter could be worth thousands, it changes how they look at their change. It slows them down. It makes them examine details. And sometimes, rarely, that attention reveals something unusual. A doubling in the lettering. A dramatic strike error. A near-perfect uncirculated example hidden in a roll from the bank. That's how discoveries happen. Quietly. Carefully. Without hype. If your 2003 Land of Lincoln quarter is worn, scratched, and heavily circulated, its realistic value remains face value. If it appears uncirculated, with no wear and strong luster, it could carry a premium among collectors. If you notice a genuine mint error, it may be worth professional evaluation. But becoming a billionaire overnight from a common circulated example is not supported by real market history. The true power is knowledge, understanding what actually creates value in U.S. coins. The strongest coin stories in America are not built on fantasy. They are built on documentation, grading standards, auction records, and collector competition. This quarter carries history. It carries national pride. It carries the image of Lincoln, a symbol of leadership and resilience. But its financial value depends on condition and rarity, not just hope. So pause before you spend it. Not because every 2003 Illinois quarter is worth millions. But because sometimes, understanding the details separates ordinary change from collectible opportunity. In the world of coins, fortune doesn't come from hype. It comes from rarity, authentication, and patience.